Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Rob. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, absolutely. Sending my love from Mexico.
My first question to you is, do you think you're an inspiration for people?
Well, that's a very cool question. I guess I never would have imagined I would be when I was younger, but I guess people tell me I am, so that must mean that I am. I always like to say, even if one thing that I write or create or show to the world, if it only reaches one person, but it changes their life,
You
like
already made
that's
it.
all that
Yeah, you
matters.
already made a
Yeah,
difference. That's the purpose. Okay,
yeah.
I want to talk to you about a little bit about your conceptions of work. So basically, I'm very confused. Do you use like green screens? How do you put people in such weird places? And is it like post-production? How do you do that?
So you're gonna love this answer. I actually take crews of people on location.
Oh my God.
So before I was a photographer, one of my biggest hobbies was going backpacking. And
Okay.
so, yeah, and I still do that like on a yearly basis. I work really hard to find unique locations. And as my work has developed, a lot of my co-collaborators will shoot me a message and be like, oh my God, I found this amazing staircase in Los Angeles. Or
That's
I have access to
amazing.
this, yeah, like I have access to this rooftop in New York. And so like,
You have to
as
come here.
yeah, and then obviously like because I love backpacking, I know a lot of really surreal
Places.
landscapes. Yeah, and I sort of have like a whole library of locations in my mind that I want to shoot at.
Wow.
Obviously, some of the effects are
Mhm.
slightly altered in post, but every single photo, the majority of it is existing on location.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
okay, what about your intentions? I mean, I know that you work a lot with like with spreading messages. It's not just about the visual look of it. What are some of the
definitely.
messages you want to spread with your work? What is something that, is really close to you?
Well, for me, I think diversity is one of the number one things, and I mean like
Yeah,
in every way. Like people with disabilities, people with different skin colors, people with different gender identities, people
yeah,
with
that's
different
amazing.
sexual identities. Well, that's just it. It's just on a simple level. It's like we are all equally valuable people, and I truly believe that if every person in the world could focus on what they love most, it would be like this perfect patchwork of like
I know.
a, a utopic,
Utopic world. Yeah.
yeah, it would be like a utopic humanity. So my whole goal in life is to encourage people to find what they love, to do what they love, to be with the people that they love.
Okay, so tell me about a work, like something that you've done that you're so proud of. One of your projects that you're incredibly proud of.
Okay, I'll give you two.
Okay,
One is super easy because it's like on the forefront of my mind right now because it's
okay,
new, which is my book.
okay. Oh
Like,
yeah, I heard about that.
yeah, I didn't think I would have a book until I was like 40 or 50, but here I am
Oh,
like at 29 and I have my
it's
first book. So
amazing.
yeah, I'm really excited about that. And I'm just really proud because it combines my writing and my photography in a really beautiful way. And it's kind of like a reflection on the last 10 years of my artwork. So
That's really
it's a
cool.
little it's a little bit surreal. But I would say the other thing that I'm probably the proudest of would be a project that I did back in, I think it was like 2013. It was a while ago, but it
Wow.
was a project raising awareness around the foster system. Yeah, for those who don't know, it's the system where if a kid doesn't have a home,
Yeah.
people can take that kid into their home, and eventually that kid will hopefully get adopted. But I did a whole project called Stories Worth Telling, based on that, and that's something that I'm really proud of because it had a very direct effect on the world. Yeah, we did a whole fundraiser and funded a new camp for foster kids. So, yeah.
Okay. So speaking of complicated and tricky things, tell me something that went wrong, like an idea that you had in your mind that was gonna go so well, and then you got there and it just blew up.
Let me think about that for a second. I would
Okay.
say I've had a few experiences like this. Definitely with self portraits. Okay, first of all, self portraits are so hard. I remember one time I covered myself in like black, blue, and white paint. And I was like by myself, and I went to this like nature preserve near my house at the time. And I was like, I'm gonna shoot this self-portrait. And like people saw me and they were just like, what the hell
What
is
is
this
this?
guy doing? Like, what's going on? And I just remember like I had been there already and scouted it and everything. So you would think that it would go fine. But I just remember like the elements were not cooperating. There were a lot of mosquitoes. I was super uncomfortable.
No!
Like,
And
and the photos were just tragic. Like I wasn't on with the posing that day. And
that sounds pretty bad. Okay, you seem like a very outgoing person, and you seem like very fun to be with. Tell me a really funny moment that you've been on a photo shoot. During a photo shoot, something really funny.
Okay, the first one that comes to mind, my friends Ale and Pamela will love that I'm talking about this. I was in Cancun a few years ago, and or it was like last year, what am I saying? And we really wanted to shoot at this like pink lake, and we had seen it all over like the internet. And we are like, okay, let's get together. I had a rental. I was like, let's drive there. And it was like 3 hours from Cancun. So it was like a commitment.
Okay.
And so we're like driving, and it's like perfectly sunny and beautiful. And like 20 minutes away from the location, the sky starts turning like black, like dark, ominous, like we're all gonna die. Like, so we get there, and not only is it like stormy, but there's so much security around this like location, and it was way bigger than we thought. But we had seen so many pictures of people just like walking up to the pink and like taking their moment.
So easy to go to.
So finally it's like starting to rain, and we're like, who cares, like we'll just tough it out. And we see this little like hidden trail like through a bunch of tall shrubs, and we're like, if we go this way, we'll totally be hidden. I'm sure we can make our way inside. So we finally get inside, and literally like the models start posing, and this was a nude shoot, so like they're very exposed and vulnerable, and literally like hurricane force winds start blowing.
No way.
And we're all just being like pelted by salt, and like our skin is starting to burn from touching the salt. And I'm like, okay, I swear I didn't intend to torture my models today. And luckily though, we're like really good friends. So they're like, no, like we'll stick it out. We'll do this.
I can't believe you did that. I can't believe they went through that.
Yeah, and so like we got through it all. It was totally fine. We like sprinted back to our cars with like, they just like threw on what they could, and they were like sprinting back like barefoot, and like luckily nobody caught us.
Okay, so my last question is, like, working with people is very hard. Working with naked people is harder. How do you make them comfortable? How do you make them, do what you want them to do?
Definitely. Well, first of all, thank you for asking this question, because I'm very passionate about etiquette surrounding working with models. We all know the Harvey Weinsteins of the industry. That needs to end. I'm super feminist. I'm super queer positive. So for me, it's like, people need to be protected and feel safe when art is being created. I mean, the whole purpose of art is to create beauty and spread beauty. So for that to not be a safe space is ludicrous. For me, it all starts with communication. Like, first of all, like people see my work, so they know like what might be involved if I'm contacting them. But if I want any level of nudity, even if it's just underwear or like partial nudity, I'm very, very clear about that from the beginning. So there's never going to be a moment where you're surprised on location. Like you're going to know what you're getting into going into the shoot. So that's number one, is communication. And then second of all is just being like professional about it on location. So it's like, I'm never going to make weird remarks about like, oh, that's sexy. It's never going to be about that. So it's going to be very like, maybe I'm even robotic on location because I don't want to make people uncomfortable, but it's like, I make sure that everybody feels safe. And the other thing that I always try to do, very rarely, like I don't think it's happened ever in the last few years that it's been just me and one other person. So it's like,
Okay.
there's accountability. So I either have an assistant or a makeup artist or other models. And so it's like, I'm never putting myself or the other person in a situation where something could become uncomfortable. Yeah, and especially if I'm working with like women, for example, I'm probably gonna have like a female assistant.
Yeah,
Just to like,
to make them comfortable. Yeah,
just
definitely.
to make them comfortable. And if I'm working with other queer folk, like I'm gonna make sure that the people on set are super queer friendly.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Okay, one day I'd like to.
build a hobbit house.
Okay, if I had to choose between photographing undersea or in space, I choose
Space.
space. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it.
Both are such incredible frontiers, but the ocean kind of scares me and space scares me a little
Really?
less. Yeah.
Wait, so you're less afraid of going to space than undersea?
I think so. I do believe that I'm an animal person and I exude like a spirit that animals like want to be around, but at the same time, I don't know what creatures live in the sea, and if they're just pure evil, then like I might die anyways. So
True.
I just realized I'm so Mexican now. I do this to say yes. That's what Mexicans do to say yes.
I'm sorry,
Like without
that's just
interrupting.
too funny. Thank you. All
Oh,
right,
I
Rob,
love it.
that was fun. This has
Yes,
been
it
fun.
was.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we'll keep in
All right.
touch and I'll let you know
Mwah.
how this goes. Lots of
Besos
love.
from Mexico.